first away game of the league season is here as Stoke take on the Hornets in Watford, and of course we'll preview how the game might go and predict who might be in Stoke's starting lineup. Now, one thing to talk about is it was a great win against Coventry last weekend. Now, what we needed to do was come out of the blocks and really give the game to Coventry, and we did that. We managed to get the win, and of course, after that first half against Coventry, I thought we really did deserve to go in by at least 1 or 2 goals. I really did. I thought we deserved to lead at half-time against Coventry because they were going to come out of the blocks, and of course, they did that, and it was 0-0, but we managed to then turn the table, look at how we could then counter-attack them, and we did just that with a goal from Lewis Baker. You look at this one as well against Watford, away from home, of course, will be a tough fixture. You look at how we've done in the past against Watford. It's always been quite tough, not loads to separate the two sides. But for me, in this one, I think it will be not end-to-end, but both teams will have chances. Both teams will have the opportunity to potentially win it or put the ball in the back of the net, and it's maybe a matter of who takes it and who wants to kind of bring the game to the opposition. Now, looking at their team and, of course, looking at ours, a lot of creativity mixed in between the two, but it's one of them where if we can restrict Watford on the ball and not allow them to have the ball and not allow them to give their home fans anything to cheer about, then I think we could really kickstart and look good in this game. Now, we did exactly that. We were in front of our home fans. We got a quick start. We really went at Coventry and played on the front foot and got our chances, and we give the home fans, our fans, something to cheer about. So hopefully when we go up against Watford, we get the game to them, we take it to them, and then silence the home fans and don't give them anything to cheer about. But in terms of a score prediction, now I think this one's quite a tough one. Of course, after 1-0 win against Coventry, you don't want to then go, oh, we're going to win the league, we're going to go unbeaten and do the Invincibles. By no means is that going to happen, but it's one of them where, of course, you want to build momentum. And another tough test against Watford, which will be really interesting to see who plays on the front foot and who has their chances, and at the end of the day, who is going to take their chances. But looking at this one, I don't think it'll be like Watford's goal fest against Millwall. I think it'll be quite a close game, quite a tight game. I'm going to go for a 1-1. Don't get me wrong, I'd love it to be 2-1 and we take the game and we win it in the end, but I just think both teams will just cancel each other out. Won't have enough to get over the line, but will definitely show quality from both sides. So I'm going to go with a 1-1, with either Lewis Baker or Wouter Berger getting on the score sheet. So looking at the starting 11 and who I think might be in the team, I don't know if you'd make too many changes to the side that played against Coventry. I think when you look at who came out in the Carabao Cup fixture and how long they played, I don't think that kind of indicates that there's going to be too many or if any changes to the side that played against Coventry. But starting off with our goalkeeper, of course, Jack Bunnan looks to be still injured, so he probably won't be even in the squad for the game on Saturday. So Frank Fielding, of course, will be on the bench. We had a superb game against Carlisle, got some good saves in it, and you know what, for his debut it looked really good. For the 36-year-old to finally make his debut, it was good to see it. Now, Schumacher said how he does have a different impact in the squad, something that you obviously won't see, and he's really positive within the squad, so it's good to see that he's managed to finally have his debut for the club. But of course, Victor Johansson in between the sticks for the Potters, of course, a real solid keeper. I enjoyed what he did against Coventry, really confident, not afraid to get us moving, and I feel like he could really keep us in this game. If Watford come out of the blocks and give the home fans something to cheer about, we definitely could stay in the game by having Victor Johansson in between the sticks. In terms of a back four, I don't think we'll change it up. I really don't. I think it'll be Eric Boca and Junior Shamadou as your two full-backs, with Ben Gibson and Ben Wilmot as your two solid and really structured centre-backs. Now, I don't know what lineup Watford will bring out, but I feel like Gibson and Wilmot both offer us just such a good style of play and such a structure at the back that they can face against either striker. I think obviously Watford have strikers with different qualities, and I feel like Gibson and Wilmot will be up for the test. But in terms of a back four and changes, I don't think it needs to be. I think it was a real solid back four. Shamadou and Bocat looking really strong, and of course the structure of the two centre half mixed in with Johansson. It just felt like it gave us such a good base, and of course against Watford, hopefully we can just look that really nice and strong and keep that momentum up at the back. But in terms of who else could replace it, of course Stevens is still injured, of course Michael Rose is as well. Dixon and Anderson put a real good shift in against Carlisle, and we showed exactly why they were involved during pre-season, which is really positive, I must admit. But could it be that more additions may come into the side as in we look into the summer window? But for me, that back four has been really solid, and hopefully they can keep that up. Looking at the midfield three, and it's another one of, do you change it up? For me, I don't think you should. I felt like Thompson, Berger and Laurent were superb. They really were. All three of them kind of complemented each other and worked well, and hopefully we can keep that up against Watford, because I think it will be about the midfield battles. I feel like they'll have quite a bit of creativity in that midfield, of course, playing a kind of 3-4-2-1 formation. Thompson will of course have a job of keeping their creative players quiet, but also kind of working the space, and I feel like Berger and Laurent, like they did against Coventry, if they're able to get on the ball and get us moving up the pitch and maybe do that at the start of the game, then we could look really, really good. I really do feel like the game is there for the taking, and after their performance against Coventry, it really is positive stuff. One of the players that I think is knocking on the door, but it obviously depends on if he's maybe leaving the club. I don't know. It's one of them where there's rumours of loads of players going, but you don't know how true they are. And it's Lewis Baker, of course, got his goal against Coventry, but then played 90 minutes against Carlisle, which to me kind of says, oh, I don't think he'll be in the starting 11. I don't get me wrong, I might be miles away, but I just feel like how good that midfield three were. Schumacher really enjoyed it, and I think having the option of Baker's creativity coming off the bench could just give us that different side of the game and give us that kind of different dynamic off the bench that might then win us the game like it did against Coventry. Moving on to who starts up top, and I feel like this man has proved his worth. He's shown us exactly why he's in the side, and you know what? I've been really impressed with him. I feel like against Coventry, he was really solid. He really was. I think he deserved to get a goal after that header. It was a good save by Coventry's keeper, but Emre Tezgal, I think, will lead the line against Watford. He deserves his chance. A young lad. Maybe we'll have to see what happens with him, depending on, obviously, if we do bring in another striker, and of course, Sam Gallagher and Ryan Meyer back fit, but a player who absolutely deserves to lead the line, and hopefully he can get on the score sheet like he did against Carlisle. On the right side of Emre Tezgal, I think, will be Miljan Manouf. Of course, linked with a move away. Leeds and other teams have been linked with him, but hopefully he's not interested in it, and I think he'll be in the starting 11. Hopefully he is. Hopefully there's nothing in the interest from the other clubs, and it just shows us the quality that he's got on the table, and hopefully he brings that against Watford. Now, I feel like what he brings to the table and just that bit of quality, and like I said, with championship games where it's just a little bit flat and it needs a bit of creativity, Manouf can definitely bring that, whether it's a free kick or maybe cutting in from the left and doing a Xherdan Shaqiri-esque goal. He could absolutely do that, and hopefully he can be kind of given that freedom and creativity against Watford. But for me, every day the week starts, I think he's superb, and hopefully he can then start to build a lovely bit of form. And then over on the left hand side, I'm not too sure who it could be. I feel like after the first half that Lyndon Gooch had, I really enjoyed his performance. I think his link up in the first half with Eric Bocat looked quite solid, and maybe they could build something. But you look at other players that are available, I feel like this is the position where more players are knocking on the door now. Kumas, for me, I really enjoyed his display against Carlisle, and I feel like he will be given a chance under Schumacher. It's just a matter of when will that happen, when will he be kind of not thrown into the starting 11 but put into this side, because I really liked what he brought to the table against Carlisle, and maybe he could be rewarded with a start against Watford. I think you then look at that, if he did kind of decide to put Kumas and Manouf up top, you then want to go right at Watford and very attacking, whereas with Gooch, he offers you that little bit more defensive side that will get back in and allow us to be a little bit more defensive. But from an attacking point of view, with Gooch, I feel like in that first half against Coventry, he put some really good balls. He really did. I think second half, there was times where he's a little bit sloppy, but I feel like what kind of Schumacher wants from him, he definitely brought in that first half. So I'm going to stick with Lyndon Gooch, of course. Jun Ho may be rumoured to be back, but I reckon if he was back, they won't want to risk him, and if anything, it would probably be a case that he's on the bench, like of course Ryan Meyer was against Coventry. But we'll have to see who's in the starting lineup. I could be absolutely way off like I was in the game against Carlisle, so we'll have to see what happens with that. But hopefully 3 points is coming the way of the Potters tomorrow. But until then, I'll see you guys next time.